Hey y'all. Hey, hey, hey. All right. So let's get into this right here. So, breaking news. This is not funny. This is sad news, but this is the world that we're living in today, the world of politics. Now, politics and big business go hand in hand. So, I know the headline. I know you see where it says the Boeing a whistleblower was found dead. So a Boeing whistleblower, John Barnett, was found dead. The coroner's office in the U.S. state of South Carolina says 62-year-old former employee died. Now, listen, okay. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Boeing has been going through it. Remember, their door fell off, and they've just been going through a lot of stuff in the news. Well, this is one of the guys that raised safety concerns when this was all happened before it all happened. And so he was probably going to be giving some information about, you know, what the process was and why this was. I mean, I'm sure they were being investigated by the FAA for sure. But let's look on to some of the news reports here. Let's share my screen here. Um, so right here. Um, is that the one? Yeah. All right. So sorry about all that. All right. Perfect. So let's go into. All right. So let's look at this. Okay. So let's get this a little bit larger. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right. So this is on Hollywood Unlocked. So entangled in a legal battle against Boeing, was found deceased last week. So under circumstances that have led to speculation about the cause of death. His body was discovered on, now his name again is John Barnett. He was 62. Um, he was found deceased last week that led to speculation about the cause of his death. His body was discovered on Saturday in Charleston, North Carolina, in his truck parked outside a hotel. Investigators said Barnett was found with a self inflicted gunshot wound, possibly pointing it as the cause of death. At this stage, the involvement of foul play remains unclear, with police continuing their investigation. Brian Knowles, Barnett's lawyer, described his client's death as tragic and raised questions about the reported cause, referring to the gunshot wound as alleged. The situation gains additional complexity given Barnett's active role in a whistleblower lawsuit against his former employer, Boeing, where he had worked for 32 years. He accused the aerospace giant of retaliatory practices after expressing concerns about compromised safety standards in their plane's assembly processes. According to TMZ, Barnett's grievances with Boeing were not new. He had been vocal about his concerns for an extended period. He even appeared on TMZ Live to discuss recent problems with Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, including an incident in January when a door was blown off mid-flight. Remember I was telling you about that, endangering the lives of passengers as the plane struggled to make an emergency landing. My goodness. All right. So, I mean, that is just crazy, right? In and of itself. But check this out. Let me see. Let's look at this.
The Boeing whistleblower just turned up not alive. You know how Boeing's planes have been falling apart in midair for the last year, like doors coming off, tires falling off mid flight? Well, it turns out that this guy, John Barnett, who spent almost a decade as the quality manager for a plant making the 787 Dreamliner, one of the problem childs of Boeing, well, he retired in 2017, and he's been taking legal action against them ever since. He's been alleging things like when a plane isn't getting built fast enough, they'll tell their dudes just to go and get scrap from the scrap bin, like broken parts and parts that didn't pass inspection, just slap them on there so the plane gets done in time. He also claimed that up to 1/4 of the oxygen masks would fail if actually deployed, plus a number of other allegations that Boeing obviously denied. And then he wound up not alive in his truck in a car park on the 9th of March from a quote self-inflicted
Right.
wound. But the spooky part is what he did right before that happened. Because see, this legal battle has been going on for years now.
Yeah.
But just this last week, he gave a formal deposition in which he was questioned by Boeing's lawyers. So Boeing's lawyers just asked him a whole bunch of questions under oath about what he knows.
Oh my
And
God.
then that same week, he turns out to not know anything anymore.
Right.
Right before he was due to undergo further questioning on Saturday. So what did they find out that he found out? That
Mm-hmm.
now we're not going to find out.
Right.
I mean, allegedly, obviously. If it was like an accidental death, like a car crash or something, you might be able to go coincidence. But like, who fights a legal battle for years and years and years, and then the year when Boeing's problems are all coming to light and proving you right, then you decide to off yourself? Like once like the world is like totally turning to your side, then you're over it
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna just quit?
Right. Right.
I mean, really?
No.
So I don't know what's going on, but puts on Boeing.
Okay, that is creepy. That is creepy. Okay. You listen. It is a dirty game out here, a dirty game. And people are always going to be trying to play dirty tricks to get to make sure that they stay at the top. And this is one of them. You know, dirty tricks like this is the reason why the proletariat stays down. The proletariat stays down because people are not being told about the truth, and these things are harming. You see how those people could have gotten killed when they were in that plane with that door flying off there like that. And then I think there was other concerns with other planes that they had. And then there was like and then Boeing made this announcement, oh, we're not going to use the same jet plane jet maker anymore. It sounds like that wasn't the problem. But let's take a look at this TMZ interview that this man, he was 62. Let's take a look at the interview that he did with TMZ. Here we go.
The FAA is saying that the FAA is saying that the plane is now safe to fly. What do you say?
Hold on, Harvey. I ain't watched TMZ in a minute. Harv, what is going on, fam? I'm gonna need you to get it together. All right, let's just get this.
One, this is not a 737 problem; it's a Boeing problem. And I know the FAA's gone in and they've done due diligence and inspections to assure that the door plugs of the 737 are installed properly and the fasteners are torqued properly. But my concern is, what's the rest of the airplane? What's the rest of the condition of the airplane? And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane, as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection of steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737 and the 787, because those programs have really embraced the theory that quality is overhead and non-value added. So those two programs have really put a strong effort into removing quality from the process. When I first started working at Charleston, I was in charge with pushing back defects to our suppliers. And what that meant was I'd take a group of inspectors and actually go to the supplier and inspect their product before they sent it in. Well, I'd taken a team of 4 inspectors to Spirit Aerosystems to inspect the 41 section before they sent it to Charleston. And we found 300 defects. Some of them were significant that needed engineering.
Hold on. 300 defects on a plane? Oh my gosh. You know how people be like, I don't want to get on the plane because, they used to say because it's 9/11, but that was, I used to be like, that's not happening again. Like, come on. But, people are just scared to get on planes because of the uncertainty of it. And then, the people throw out this statistic, more people die in car crashes than airplane. But yeah, do you know how scary that is to die in an airplane? 300 defects. And these are things that you can control. These are things you can control. My goodness, 300.
Intervention. When I returned to Charleston, my senior manager told me we had found too many defects and he was going to take the next trip. So the next trip he went on, he took 2 of my inspectors. And when they got back, they were given accolades for only finding 50 defects. So I pulled that inspector aside and I said, did Spirit really clean up their act that quick? That don't sound right. And she was mad. She said, no. Said the 2 inspectors were given 2 hours to inspect the whole 41 section and they were kicked off the airplane.
Oh my goodness. So Boeing is negligent as AF. Like, oh my gosh. But here's the thing, Boeing is who's supplying all these airlines with different airplanes. They are the ones, I think that it's not just them, but there's other airlines make their own jets, but they are one of the main manufacturers that supply jets to airlines. And to increase profit and to decrease time and increase profit, they are cutting corners up the wazoo. It's allegedly, it seems like it's true because of that door flying off mid-flight. That's why it seemed like it's true. Sound like y'all not doing what y'all supposed to be doing. My goodness. I cannot. No. All right, let's look at this last article here. This is TMZ's reporting on it. Boeing whistleblower dies by suicide amid involvement in lawsuit against the company. This is the man here that we just seen in the interview. This is that door. Remember that door? Can you guys see it? Hold on. Hold on. Because y'all need to see this. Okay. This is that door right here. This is what came off and somebody, sitting right there. And then this is the plane. I couldn't imagine sitting on a plane and this happened to me right here. My goodness. I would be suing Boeing's ass and the airplane and the airline because that's y'all job to figure it out. I've already paid for this ticket that's up an arm and a leg. I mean, you couldn't put the safety together. You couldn't put that. I mean, that's your job. That's your only job. All right, let's read the article. A whistleblower who was at war with Boeing died last week, and investigators say it appears he took his own life. This while he was embroiled in a lawsuit against the company. John Barnett was discovered dead on Saturday out in Charleston, North Carolina, where cops say his body was found in a truck in a hotel parking lot, with him suffering an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. No word on if foul play is suspected, but police are investigating. Barnett's attorney, Brian Knowles, called the passing of his client tragic. Okay, so we kind of went over this with the other article. What's more startling is Barnett was literally in the midst of a whistleblower lawsuit against Boeing, his former employee of 32 years. He was alleging retaliation for sounding the alarm on what he characterized as cutting corners on assembly lines for their planes. But now, listen, he ain't the only one. I mean, Boeing ain't the only one. Because we can go over some of these big companies that are cutting corners on safety concerns, and cars is blowing up and semis is blowing up because you not putting it together the way that you should, even though you've got enough money and enough manpower to get it done. Again, these people want their wealth to increase, but they want to do it at the cost of your life. Like it's going to be a hard no for me. This is a drum Barnett had been beating for a long time, and he even came on TMZ Live recently to address issues that Boeing 737 MAX aircraft have been experiencing lately. Of course, the one incident that comes in mind is the door blowing off a 737 flight mid-air in January, which left the passengers clinging to dear life as the plane tried to land safely. Like, are you kidding me? Barnett, a former quality manager at Boeing, spoke with us and said he wasn't surprised by this mishap, alleging he'd seen Boeing turn a blind eye to safety concerns for years. He also told us that Boeing 737 MAX aircraft being given the green light to fly again so soon after the Alaska Airlines incident was alarming, suggesting it might have been unsafe. I do remember that. I remember that. Fast forward last week when Barnett was in the middle of
when you want the biggest stories, only one name comes to mind.
Welcome to TMZ Live.
We break the stories the world wants to talk about.
He was saddened by his death. He was 62. Rest in peace. So yeah, like this is like one of the most negligent. I was watching a documentary about this the company that makes pots and pans and Teflon, and they have a manufacturing company, a factory, and the people all around there are all dying of cancer, and they just don't know how. They couldn't possibly know how, and the people that's closest to the factory of where the factory is are dying the most. I mean, it's a mystery. I don't know how this can happen, but it's happening over there. And they're saying that some ingredient that they use in their formula allegedly may be, it may be interfering with their health. It may be allegedly. I mean, because they would never do nothing like that. I'm sure. But people are dying anyway. I just think that the fact that these companies all they have to do is pay a fine, and boom, they get to continue with whatever they were already doing. I think that is so, because let that be somebody like a member of the proletariat, that would not end well, and most of us would end up in some type of jail or prison for a very long time. All right, so let's look at this last story real quick, and I just wanted to kind of go over this thing at the Oscars last night with Jimmy Kimmel. Says he was told not to read Donald Trump's social media post during Oscars, but did it anyway. Jimmy Kimmel calls out Donald Trump during the Oscars. Isn't it past your jail time, like instead of bedtime? Hold on, let's.
And I appreciate you having me. Is really about you and Emma and all these great actors and actresses and filmmakers. But I was told we have like an extra minute, and I'm really proud of something. I was wondering if I could share it with you. I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still, isn't it past your jail time?
Like, okay. Look, I think that Trump is a good sport in all this. He is older. His last presidency ended in disgrace with that January 6th debacle. And he is now still trying to run and get his second term back, but he has been, monkey wrenches and chairs and tables and mountains have been thrown at him every step of the way. And his bank account is being attempted to be drained. His resources, his real property is being attempted to be drained. This is a sight to be seen. I mean, what a time to be alive. If we think that they won't do this to people who really actually want to make changes in this country, I mean, I know that there are people who don't like Donald Trump, but this is really bigger than Trump. This is how a machine comes at someone that they don't think is useful because it's raging against the machine, basically. And it's not about being a fan. It is about being on the right side of history. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff Trump says about different groups. I just think that he grew up privileged and it doesn't really connect when he talks poorly about people. He just thinks that people should probably get over it. That's probably his stance, which in some respects, yeah. But I do respect the fact that he's still continuing to go and how to really fight something this hard. I do pray for not just him, but the leadership of this country, because we do have to pray and hope that what is happening in our country right now, it doesn't fall or falter any further. I know that things in the Bible are going to be coming true soon, but I think that the American proletariat and the world at large, we're going to be the ones getting the short end of the stick if we don't hop in front of or get in front of the machine bullying people just because we're not going with the main agenda. Like, we don't have to go with the main agenda. We should not have to go with the main agenda. That's not the way the world works. Not everybody has to bow down. Sometimes people in leadership feel like they are gods and that people should bow down and worship them. And that's just not true. And I really respect the fact that there is a fight that's happening and we can all see it. I feel bad because he seems like, but here's the thing. He does have a good, strong family unit around him, even though Ivanka is not in the public eye. It's her and her husband, it's his wife, and they have children. He has strong business people around him. I think this is why he's been able to be so resilient in the fight. But I'm rambling here, and I kind of just wanted to get that off my chest, because even you don't have to be a big fan. You just have to be an American and to appreciate not getting down or laying down. All right. Well, that's been enough of me. I will see you guys tomorrow. Check out our Grow Your Channel YouTube challenge that we're doing. That is going to be in a playlist or on the other lives on the channel. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.